use those 3 points. We have them here for you, 4, 0, and negative 5, 0. Use those 3 points. Now we're looking to find A. Go ahead. Let me help you if you need help finding A.
X plus 4. Do we just figure out X plus 7?
Right, so what are the 2 roots in this one? It's 4, and what's the other one? It is 2 and negative 14. Does that make sense? To the second piece, which is now doing the standard form. Okay, Roberto? All right, man. So this is what we did over here. Let's go through that now.
Okay, so you put x equals 1.
Okay, so the A is 1, right? Is that what you meant? Yeah, okay.
And then parentheses,
Uh-huh.
x minus 4.
Good.
And then x minus 5.
Is it minus 5? Right, very good. So that's how we can come up with these kind of equations. Using 3 points, we go through, so it's a bit of a process. We go through, we first find A, after we get the 3 points, and then we plug A back in to get the standard form of the equation. How do we feel about this? Not too bad, right? It's something that will need a little bit of work. So let's, but overall, when I went through, you guys look pretty good. I've seen most everybody get to A, and then I would say a good portion of you were able to get to the standard form, so that's good. Let's go back to our problem that we looked at earlier. Okay, so let's just let that fall. And here's the end of the video. We end off here. One more bird to shoot. Okay, so what is the question that this brought to your mind? What did you guys think was a good question to ask for this video? What could we figure out? Yeah, what was it?
What's the technique on where the birds land?
Okay, what's the technique on where the birds land? Good. Okay, so, and by where the birds land, you mean because he doesn't control where they land, he controls what? Where he aims them, right? Is that what you mean? Okay, so what's his technique of where to aim? Yeah. So he gets where the birds land? Very good. Yeah, very good. Okay, that's a good question. So how does he aim the birds so that they land where he wants them to? And any other questions? Yeah?
What's the equation of the parabola?
Okay, so what's the equation of that parabola? And these are kind of one and the same, right? These are kind of one and the same. So our question is basically about how is he aiming it, in what parabolic motion is he aiming it so that it ends up landing where he wants it to land. And who knows this game, by the way? Who's played this before? Okay, and so where does he want to land here? Like where would be a good spot? He wants to start over? Where should he land to get the most amount of points on this one?
The tall tower.
What's that?
The tall tower.
The tall tower? Okay, so like hit up here,
And then
hopefully knock this one down too, right? So we want something where he's able to fly up here, hit this guy, and knock this one down and land back here somewhere. Okay, so yeah, he's not going to be able to get them all though, is he? This one here. So, where should he aim? So I want you to write something similar to this question. Where should he aim to maximize points? And I'm going to put in parentheses, what is the equation? Because there's an aim equation that he's using, right? And this is what Jesus was talking about. What is the equation of the parabola? What is the equation? Okay, so that's what we're going to try to figure out. What information do you need, and how do you plan to get that equation? So, what information do you need? Talk amongst yourselves now. What information do you need, and what would you plan to do once you get it? Good, so raise your hand if you have a piece of information you feel like you need. Okay, go ahead, Cole. Roots. So we'll need roots for this, right? We need 2 roots so we can set it up the way we want to set it up. And what else do you need?
the vertex.
A vertex or any other point, right? Any point at all is fine. So we did the vertex, the first one I showed you guys. And then the second one where you guys did it, it was just another point, right? So any other point would work. Now, what's the plan once we do that? once we get those things,
Plug them into equation.
plug them into the equation we did earlier, right? So we're going to plug them in, find A, and then go back through and get the standard form. See how he starts back here when he's pulled back? So this would be the 0 line all the way across here. This way, let's say he hits right here, okay, and then he lands right over here. Let's say that's what he's going to do. That's what we want him to do, right? Hit this one and then hit this guy?
Yeah.
So the other root here is 26 and 0. That's the other root. Okay, 26 and 0. So we've got 0, 0, 26 and 0. Yes, we have our two roots, right? That's what we needed. Okay, now, yeah, we don't have a vertex, do we? It's going to be difficult to have a vertex because we don't necessarily know where the top of this would be so that he can hit here. But do we need a vertex?
No.
No, we could use what? Any other point. Okay, so here, if you can't tell, is a nice point. It ends up hitting right where we want it to hit. Okay, right on the edge of this cage, so it'll hit the cage and then fall down into here. It's a nice point here. Okay. Yeah, it's 22 over, isn't it? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. So 22 and 6, okay, is my third point. So that was the information piece we needed. Those 3 points, that's what you asked me for. You've got a plan together, so go ahead and follow through on that plan now in the 4th step by solving the problem. Go ahead and solve the problem here. Work together. If you had trouble with that first one, go ahead and work together.
Single file.
Okay, some of you have begun to finish up here, and so I want you to start to think about what we're going to write for a conclusion. And also, with that, I need you to think about what are the possible sources of error here? Like, where could we have gone wrong? So finally, think about writing your conclusion and sources of error. And in the meantime, I'll put up the rest of the graph here so we can see what the shot would look like. Whoa. Very snazzy. Good job. Okay, so now I drew this graph. Okay, I drew it. And how could I have drawn this? Because we talked about how to draw some of these last day. How could I have drawn this graph? Like, where did I know where this point would be, for example? Once you have this equation that we got, that was a good equation, what do we do? Yeah, you can plug in points. Good. So Rodrigo talked to me earlier about a table of values. Okay, and so, yeah, you can make a table of values by plugging in points. That's one way to do it. How could I find specifically, how could I find this point right here? It's the vertex. So how do I find the vertex? Do you guys remember? What was the formula to find the vertex? Probably remember from last week?
Negative b over 2a.
Yeah, you got it. Negative b over 2a. Very good. Very good. Okay, so we would take this value, okay, so it would be negative 1.68, or 1.768 rather, divided by 2 times this value, 0.068, okay? And that ends up giving you the vertex here, which is at 13, okay? The x value is 13 here. So, in the last couple minutes we have remaining, make sure you write your conclusion about what the AIM equation was. What source of error? So please write your conclusions. Last 2 or 3 minutes remaining here, and then go ahead and pass in your papers right here.